Hi everyone, it's Adrian Leah. I wanted to do a reading. I think it's a good time to do one. I will talk before I start. There are a couple of things that I want to say, but I feel like in the web of life, it kind of trickles down to uh, a message that comes out of all those things that are in my head. So I feel like it's also a good time because I am feeling well. I did fast and detox a little bit for the past couple of days because I was treated with some savory restaurant food. I didn't go to a restaurant or anything, but my godparents brought some stuff for like the past 2 days, and even though I didn't eat meat. Like it was one of those like heavy meals that it tastes good, but it's definitely like a treat that I don't eat all the time. And that was like for 2 days, and um there is just so much food. So I I did feel like even though I wasn't eating meat, I was getting meat sweats in a way where my body was just trying to get rid of it. And even in my complexion, I could see and again feel it because I just felt like it was too heavy or it wasn't something that was healthy or in a way um, sacred because you're trying to really be clean in different aspects of your life. So I'm not saying it wasn't like delicious, but it's one where I had to just sit back for a little bit. So it there was that. Today was a day that I feel like I felt a little more like signs, especially from the fox spirit. I did get a reading for the fox reading that I have done over the years. It's the reading that people come to me the most for. And even when I used to do readings for a living, I did it back then too. So it kind of was on par with what I was doing. I was watching like a cartoon like battle scene with the fox spirit or the yokai having being an umbrella term for different types of spiritual beings, different levels, different types of temperament, different abilities, um, characteristics, and what have you. So I do work a lot with the kitsune, and I do have a deck. I'm not going to use it for this reading, mainly because I'm going to use it for that reading that I'll give for the client. So I would just say like a couple of cards that were coming out for me was empowerment. The empowerment also had the energy of like koi fishes and transcendence. I felt like that was an interesting combination because on the empowerment card it also has energy of, I don't know, sorry, I'm already forgetting. I already, the card had energy of like koi fish, I did say it. And koi fish grow out of the enclosure that they're in. And so, with it being like empowerment and transcendence, it's almost as if you're going into the next level of what you're doing, or even um, getting stronger with the empowerment card. Because they have the riches from within. I won't give all of them in this reading. And seeing if I should do the reading tonight, I got the golden moment. So that was more validation for me. Another combination is a time to walk alone and watch and listen carefully. So those two combined, it just seems like there are more signs to be revealed. And with the yokai and different types of cultures and seeing their viewpoints on the spiritual world, uh, say for instance, like with demons with them, it does have different religious significance. Now, I'm not going to go into that in this reading, but they tend to have more of an assortment of personalities in terms of not all being um, the evil that you see in Western religion. I'm not saying that they don't have it, but I feel like it has more of a broader range in that sense. So, because not the other, well, today and yesterday, I was also thinking how I have been getting a little more into crystals. I'm not super, like, I don't delve in too deeply with them, but I have more of an appreciation, not like I felt like they weren't significant in that way, or irrelevant, but I've always leaned more towards herbs, and that's always been something that I just had an eye for. I remember the first herb I worked with, I um remember the first herb that like really gave me inspiration to do more things in that field of study. And you just think of the different ways that you could use them and their therapeutic uses, because they just have so much personality too, and you see it with different types of areas of the world. Eastern and Western I'm sorry, medicine, and how they view it and how they determine these things. I would say that one thing that I really love is that they have the therapeutic margin to tell you how harmless it can be. I mean, with anything, take it within, you can take it in moderation, or if it can be more fatal. So it feels like there is more to them, and the more you know, the more you can do with them, the different combinations, how it can heal you, how it can be deadly. And even when you think about fighting, um, and you think about healing too, and whether it's using your meridian points, the puncture to find these different areas of your body and see how it could be useful for you or how it could be harmful for you. And of course there's everything in between too. So, and also with fighting and maybe not being able to protect yourself in time or not knowing how to protect yourself, the very least that you could do is, um, if you can't avoid the hit, at least get hit in a place that's not going to cause you to get hit in somewhere where it could be fatal too. We just look and observe and have a keen eye for these things, and we listen to the medicine, we listen to the herbs, we can listen to the crystals. We listen to our body when our body tells us that something is too much and it wants us to stop. It wants us to make sure that we understand that pain is a strength because it tells us things. It tells us when we need to protect ourselves. It tells us when we need to heal ourselves or take some rest and revitalize. And maybe I was going to go more into that, but I'll get started in a second. Sorry, false alarm. I just wanted to say I'm almost finished the second mitten for the Pray for Ukraine. So this one is the washed one, or I soaked it, and you could see that the fibers bind it together. It's 100% Shetland wool, 100% wool. So you know it has those magical properties, and it relaxed. It was able to get rid of the crumply bits because it was crunchy when it wasn't washed. And now I have this one, and I'm on the thumb right now. I am so surprised how much I love the mittens because I knew that I would love the pattern. It's a free pattern, which is like incredible, but it definitely is a proper mitten. I don't think I've felt one that I've been enthused about because usually you like to have this area exposed to do different things. And even if you just use it outside, it's just it really is something that feels like it's meant to be used in that way and not just like a prop or something that you've knit and it's kind of for decoration. And it has the quality of being warm but also breathable. You know, sometimes you buy an acrylic sweater in the store and it's suffocating because acrylic doesn't breathe. And I'm not saying to not use those things. If you want to use them, you can, of course. Um, but I tend to love using the different types of fibers and seeing how I react to them. Same thing with plants because in college, you one of the main things is like trying out the different herbs for yourself and seeing how you react. So, a little bit of experimenting there. I will do a I don't know if it's going to be a mini reading. I didn't really have anything planned, but I just thought it would be nice to do today because I was feeling invigorated. There's also it's interesting because a while back there was like channeled messages and going through these journeys, the traveling that I've done, and really going into that deep journey into hell with the team that I had, which was the Ascended Master and the Ogre, respectively. And I just wanted to say, because it just came to mind that, like, the Ascended Master is not an angel. And I thought it was interesting because, like, um, I say they because the Ascended Master is genderless. The shade of paper, like white, but still knowing that there is the being there. So I really related to the being as like an alchemist because of just providing those things when we were going into that area and the ogre being indifferent and being used to going to different types of worlds or areas and not having that type of effect. So I had the cloak and that it um, was cloaked with light and it protected me. And there was one incident where somehow the cloak like got like I don't know if I bumped into something, but it got unhooded and I just felt the burn here. And it it just was like because it's one of those things where there are more disputes, a little bit of arguing, and like when you're on a team and half the time my guides are just like, Adrian, shut up, because they're just like, Adrian, don't like don't talk back, stop, just just chill. And then the Ascended Master would kind of be like, I can hear you. And I'm like, congratulations. So I just felt like it was one of those things. No beef though, but I am used to having that lone wolf type of energy in that way. And sometimes we cloak ourselves because maybe we don't see the need to expand or find those things in life. Oh my goodness, it's 18 minutes already. But the spirit world is definitely an interesting one. And then their response, oh, always being on my case about something. And he's like, your life is spared, technically twice, so don't, like, stop. Just keep going and remember what you said you would do. And I'm like, you don't have to hold that against me. I would have helped regardless. But I know my guides are just like, Adrian, just calm down. It's interesting, like at least for me, when I died, um, it did kind of feel like falling asleep because I barely felt it. But then there's the chaos around you where everyone's freaking out, and then you finally like come back, and then I'm being brought to the hospital. So it was kind of one of those moments. Kind of feels like coming of time with this. This is the Nine of Pentacles. It feels honestly like a snap out of it type of energy, and to go into this new era because the obstacle is the Empress card. As I've mentioned before, the Empress card embodies all four queens from each element. Because I feel like there's an energy with Earth energy, it might be being held back because to overcome the obstacle is the Knight of Wands. And the Knight of Wands is kind of like a gunning it type of energy, while Pentacles is grounded, it's rock, it doesn't really want to move. Um, it doesn't really want to break. It takes force, it takes strength to do those things. And it could even be associated with rigid thinking too. With the Nine of Pentacles, it could be knowing that position that you're in, knowing what you do, exactly how you do it. This could be a mundane thing that you've done for so long, and now it trickles down to being able to empower yourself and to become a stronger person than you were yesterday. It almost feels like being in a state of like disrepair, I would say. I'm not saying that this person doesn't have their stuff together, because with the Nine of Pentacles, and this feels like an upright card, it feels like there is an establishment there, but it feels like it's a mundane thing that at this point, this is where you stay, this is where you lie. So it's about disconnecting from that in order to transcend, which I did mention in the last reading. Um, when we are in the moments of disrepair, we have so many experiences, and they're not necessarily all bad experiences, too, because it's life and we do different things, we feel and we see, we experience life. So sometimes it feels like with this Nine of Pentacles, life is at a halt because we're not moving. It could be because we don't want to move, but life might be saying, this is the time. If it's not now, then when is it? Is it going to be 50 years from now when you finally see that maybe that potential's there, but then maybe the moment has passed? And of course, other moments might come about, but is that what you really want to do? Sometimes, oh man, sometimes when we go through life, again, we laugh, we cry, we feel sorrow, we feel happiness. There's anger, there's resentment, there's joy, there's tranquility, there's quietness, there's a meditative state, there's blankness. All those moments can be moments that we feel in one day. Sometimes when we're in moments of disrepair, specifically, it ignites the warrior energy. it brings out the warrior in anybody. And then it's like we fight. And kind of, in a way, it's a fight with ourselves, something in our lives that exists that make us feel like our world crashes down. But I'm not saying that they completely end at once, but there are moments where you see where they level or they get increasingly um, less dysfunctional and the pieces start to fall together. And then we figure out ways for us to live again. Because with the Nine of Pentacles, in some ways, it feels like we lost ourselves. We don't know how to live. And the Knight of Wands kind of is that wild card where it says take those chances. Also, in this card, it doesn't have a goat here, but you could also associate it with goat energy too. And they have those hooves and they have those eyes to see different ways of how to view things, to climb these steep cliffs, to go places that nobody else has gone before, to take those risks, to take those chances, because the life that we used to live is not how it is right now. And she's holding a tool for maybe farming, and it it might be time to let the land rest so it could be healthier and so more crops can grow the next season. The overall energy is the Seven of Wands. That's what I'm feeling with the obstacle energy too. This is an energy of trying to rise above problems. I see snowflakes here, and this is one where it looks like they're singing carols and there's probably a Christmas significance, which does bring me down to one of the areas too, I would say. Because me being a smart mouth, and I wasn't trying to disrespect it or anything, but it was like a conversation about the Matankas. I'm sorry if I'm saying it the like a super American way. Um, but it keeps going down to that moment around Christmas and the moment where I first heard the grandmother energy and first saw the vision. And it keeps coming down to it. And I was like, is this a memory that it just keeps coming back? And then I realized it's not just a memory, it's a message. Because sometimes the spirit, like when the memory would come back, it wasn't just that moment. Instead of no one being there, like the being is right next to me when they're saying it. And then even sometimes now, um, like when I was spinning the fiber the other day, I felt that energy behind me too, just keeping an eye on things. And maybe that's with the Ascended Master being like, Adrian, you can't just baby this anymore, you gotta keep going. So the past is the Ace of Cups. So that already feels established because the Nine of Pentacles, it feels like the comfort of her own home or his own home. I don't have to read for genders. And then seven seems to be like an important number. So I'll put that in the description. This is the Seven of Wands. And there's a menorah there too. So there is the cross on the Seven of Wands. I'm sorry, I said the Seven of Wands for this one too. So it looks like Let me just make sure. So it's the Seven of Cups. So dreams, the percent to fantasies, a strong desire for something, choice, creative breakthrough. This picture shows Menorah, the world's largest Jewish cultural center, situated in the city of um, Dnepr. So this is the city. So I'll write down this, well, I'll link the 77 in the description. So the Seven of Cups. So there must be like a fantasy here. It feels like a fantasy, and that's why it's saying to pursue, because the Ace of Cups is in the past. And it's a strong card to have the Nine of Pentacles, because the Nine of Pentacles seems like they have the means to get this. It's just being able to step into that empowerment type of energy. Um, Being in the Empress mode, and honestly letting your energy be free, because the Nine of Pentacles seems confined. So I'll just pull a couple more cards, and then uh, let's see. Actually switched the Slavic Tarot to this bag. This energy kind of feels like going back, because you have the King of Cups and the Strength card. Sorry. King of Cups being heavy water energy. Also feels like controlling too. Um, Especially with the Strength card. But there is a way to get to the means without um being too excessive with it or carried away. I would say the King of Cups is emotionally aware, and there does seem to be like a fairness that comes with it, like an equal equal give and take, especially with partnership too. And it could have to do with the Empress and the Nine of Pentacles too. Again, you don't have to read for gender or age. There could be like an innocent energy too. Not like in a weird way, but um Because with the King of Cups, not wanting to cause like pain or harm in that way for another person or situation. And just because you have the strength doesn't mean you're going to yield it in a deafening way. Deafening way. I still can't roll my R's, so this is the world, and this has rod in it. Yeah. Another Ace of Cups. So you had the Seven of Cups in the Glory to Ukraine Tarot, and you have the Eight of Cups here. So with the obstacle with the Empress card, it does seem like this person does make that decision. And it does feel like there's a protective energy with this too. Because with the means and being capable, it's doing what seems to be for the greater good of this. Since the King of Cups is there, that's the emotional aspect of it, which leads to the Lover's card. And with this, it has Yarilo and Mirana. Even in the midst of all this, you still get like a love reading, so it's pretty romantic. I think I'm gonna get an angel deck. And maybe this one, the Earthside Divine. With the Lovers card, it also is like finding yourself too. And it could be with other people because life tends to reflect that back at you in some way. Even with the reflection in the cups, like with the water, as if you're looking like a reflection in the water or something. And with the secret, like the book, remember how the way that you think and do things can be effective with how you get the things that you have in life, whether it's what you want or whether it's like something that you definitely don't want. We have the Ace of Pentacles here. So, Ace of Cups, Ace of Pentacles, the Ace of Cups from the Slavic Tarot, and the Glory to Ukraine Tarot. Paired with the Five of Pentacles and the Page of Wands. A lot of Wands energy, so this kind of feels like being persistent, even when you feel weighed down. The Nine of Pentacles also might be, oh my god, so sorry, also might feel weighed down. And with the World card there, because the nines are towards the end of the minor arcana cycles, The world is 21, and then it starts off again with the Fool, and the Fool is 0 already because it's the Fool's journey, and you're going through that cycle with him or her. That could be, for some reason, with the wheel there, it looks like night and day, and it also kind of gives the energy of expansion. And with the wreath there, I feel like there's a victory that's to be had. It's almost like you made it to the top of the mountain, even though the person is on top of a fish. And it's like surfing. And I'm getting that with water energy to be able to balance yourself while life is moving. So also finding like the spark or the fire with the Page of Wands can help you on your path. And the more passion and drive that you have, I feel like the easier it gets. You'll find that motivation comes easier. Um, Inspiration might hit. People might be intrigued because they see how driven you are based off of the interest that you have and how far you're willing to take that interest. This does feel like energy of like going for the gold with that like crowning thing in the world card. And with the Five of Pentacles, I wouldn't take it as like a loss, but being able to let go of things so new things can enter in your life. You also have the King of Cups again. This one, calm, generous, giving, grounded, fatherly, heart centered, and those are the synonyms that go with the King of Cups on this card because they have different things on some of them. Then this. And I really like how this is the Six of Pentacles and it has reciprocity, and the way what you give out is what you get in return. Sometimes you feel like you don't get a big return, and that was like an interesting thing too because there was like some beef in the knitting community, and we're this expensive company was like um asking knitters if they wanted to apply to work with them and to knit a project, and they'll provide the yarn and then they'll give some type of reward. But I think one of the arguments was like, you're not telling us the reward because knitting takes a long time to do, and it takes different techniques if you know them. Like if you estimate maybe a cardigan or a sweater depending on the weight of yarn, it usually takes me around 3 months to knit that, and that's with hours a day knitting on it. So it's definitely a timely process. So sometimes you put out something into the world and you feel like you don't get as much back, but in this case, I feel like it it's something that will come to you gradually, and just knowing that you did it, like with the King of Cups, that's like kind of like the goodness of doing good. I feel like the universe is going to provide you something even greater because even I think that too with my readings, that I try to have like kind of a clean slate in a way where even though I might be a smart mouth half the time, I try to do what I feel like is going to be the best and fair in the situations because for me to do these readings, I do hope that I, in a way, have like good karma to get messages that could help. And in a way, I feel like I hope I get favor for that. And let me see, I'll just do a little more. And then this is the Wheel of Fortune. This kind of feels like energy of a roller coaster, even though it has like a Ferris wheel there. But it has like the energy of like ecstasy. And it feels like there's a lot of life that comes out of that card. And even like a carnival type of energy or just that type of enthusiasm or excitement or awe, being able to feel like you're a kid like running around and you're trying to find the different rides, trying to get like that stuffed animal that you're like thinking, I didn't get it last year, but this year it's like for sure my year. With the wheel, it does it it also trickles down to like what you put out there too. Some might disagree, but um, there's definitely things that come into play, and even hardships can build that character to make you do things, or sorry, have you do things like if like by choice, and um, maybe you didn't think that you would be able to get through it or do it, but you can pass that, and there's like that threshold that you surmounted. I feel like it really, for some reason, it links to the Lover's card too. If you have had doubts about it, as I say that, don't be alarmed. It's the Lover's. Oh my god. This is the Devil card. And since I was about to say Lover's card, I feel like it might link to the Lover's card too. Sometimes you have to see what life does. And since the Lover's card is a card that comes towards the end, somehow, some way, when you let life take its course, where we expand, where we detach, not saying to not care, not saying not to love, but when we don't force the universe to give it exactly how we have it in our head, it allows things to unfold the way that they can naturally. Like when you're transcending to the world can't always give it to you exactly how you're looking to have it. Sometimes you can get it, but it is different. And when we try to stop the world from giving it the way that it comes naturally, sometimes it slows the process down. Sometimes it makes it difficult for it to happen, and sometimes it might halt it completely. I would just be wary with the devil card because I'm not saying to not care, but to see how life takes it, where it takes you, and um, and it can become a reality since you have that enthusiasm for what you've wanted to have. So the other two cards, the Knight of Swords and the Ace of Swords. So you have another ace here. The only one that hasn't come up is the Wands. So the Ace of Swords and then the Knight of Swords. So both air. So there might be something that just like is a breakthrough with that discovery that maybe you read, maybe you heard something, maybe somebody just like gave it to you. They're just like, honestly, maybe someone could have told you off. Maybe something in life just had you put your feet on the ground and say, I have to actually take this seriously because if I don't, I'm just gonna screw it up. And of course, you could take that for what it is, however it relates to you. But with the Knight of Swords, it is that determination to get to that. And it's also sorry, determination to like really hone in on that idea and how far you're willing to take it. Because with the Strength card from the Slavic Legends Tarot, it is one where um, continuously putting that energy, and strength is also, it can be spiritual too. It could be something where you feel like you can't really keep going with it, but then somehow with that breakthrough, it could be um, that little whisper, that sign that just kind of validates that moment and says, I could do this or I could keep going at it. So I'm going to pull out an oracle card. And the card that I have is meditation. Card meaning meditation is very important for you right now. Enjoy practicing it often. A quiet mind hears the voice of the angels more easily. This card is your angel's way of asking you to quiet your mind so that your angelic communications are loud and clear. First thing in the morning, spend at least 5 minutes with your eyes closed and breathe deeply 3 or 4 times. Ask your angels a question and then listen as intently as you would to a dear friend. Don't strain to listen. If you chase the answer, it will evade you. Instead, continue to breathe in and out deeply and allow yourself to relax. Tell yourself that receiving angelic communication is natural for you and that it is actually an everyday experience. The more you relax your mind, the easier it is for you to hear the answer. So it is the balance with Ace of Swords and the Devil card too, as I said, to focus on it, but it's also being able to have a relaxed state, not like to be pent up or tense. So I feel like it's a nice reading, and I hope it was helpful. I'll see you guys in another reading. Bye.